At what age do you begin feeling like it's okay to provide for a woman? Gifts to me gives an inclination of what kind of provider you can possibly be.
Doing things, services that are recurring, that's the element of now I'm taking care of you.
Women don't even understand like how hard men be working for their dollar. If you really understood how hard this man slaved for this income right here, you would be more strategic and kinder with the way that you ask for things.
And then don't let social media convince you that there isn't a difference between girlfriend, fiance, wife.
Do women ask do women ask for money from men as often as men say or feel?
I'm Simeon Pando.
Victoria Monet.
Tank.
I'm Melvin Gregg.
This is another episode of Nice and Neat.
I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalon.
Welcome back to another episode. Yo, what's the deal, y'all? Hope all is well. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalon, and this is another episode of the #1 podcast in all of Los Angeles, Nice and Neat. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing,
What's
man?
the deally, bro?
What's happening, man?
Hey, look, we was off camera, and Duke, you said something that just made me. I was laughing because we're putting together. Edison's at the age where we got to get him a playpen,
Okay.
right? Because he's crawling everywhere, he's touching everything, he's doing everything, right? So, Brittany gives me the box. I open the box. I'm like, all right, for sure. Not that box. Oh,
Not the box. She get.
okay.
I'm trying to
Get the
see.
box.
I'm really proud.
Okay.
Come on, bruh.
Hey, that's impressive.
So I pull out the instructions, right? I see the material on the floor, and then I see it's a couple of sticks, and I pull out the instructions. I'm like, okay, match the stick to the stick on instruction. Okay, yeah, I know what to do, right? I didn't even go through the full instructions. I just was like, these sticks is longer, so these are the ones that go in this space. These sticks are shorter, so these go in these space. So once I go through one round of this, I don't need to keep reading the instructions. And Brittany's asking me, like, did you read the instructions? I'm like, nah, like, I'm good. Like, I put something together before. Like, I don't need to.
Let me ask you a question. Did you miss a step?
Didn't miss a step.
Didn't miss a step.
Didn't miss a step. Right? Put it together so good. And not even being funny. Put it together so good. I found where they made a mistake. They gave us an extra pole, right? Just one extra pole, right? You know, it happens sometimes. And Brittany was like, you sure we don't need it? I'm like, nah, like, I went through everything that I needed to do. Sturdy, strong, shook it, everything. It was good. But as we're having this conversation, Duke is like, yo, women read directions better than men.
For sure.
Right? And when you said it, I'm like, yo, I didn't even read the directions all the way through. Like, I glanced through it, flipped a couple of pages, seen the end, and I was like, oh, okay. I don't need to finish this. I've built stuff before. So I was thinking, is it because I've built it before and that's why I don't need to read the directions through? Or is that just a man's trait?
You never built that before.
I never built that.
You never built
Okay.
that before. You
Okay.
never built that before. That's a man's ego. I feel like we all have a little bit of that. We all have a little bit something inside of us that says, you know what, I could take it from here.
Man.
I've read enough. I could take it from here. You know what I mean? And the reason why I ask you though is because I'm actually just like you, but there are many times where I've done that and I've like, I'm left with a pole,
Yeah.
and it's actually part that's supposed to be
You gotta
included.
take the whole thing
and I have to
apart.
take the whole thing apart. You know what I mean? So I've actually learned from my mistakes in those moments where I'm like, you know what, I should just go ahead and read the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But generally speaking, though, I feel like it's the ego within inside of the man that says, I'll take it from here because I've seen something familiar like this. I've done something close to this before. Either way, though, I got a good, solid understanding of what to do from here on out. So I'm going to take it into my own hands.
Yeah, it's ego, but it's also discovery.
Yeah?
It's also challenge. Let me see if I can figure this out. You understand what I'm saying? And that's part of a man's DNA.
Yeah.
Is to let me go try to figure out if I can do it. And it's like it proves to ourselves that okay, I understand how just the fundamental things work. Jalon said he put that together without looking at the direction, not because he had no clue about how to put it together. He has some extensive knowledge about different things.
Yeah.
Right. Certain things are just built the same. Screws.
Yep.
Like it's like
Right.
you just know. Like when you start working with things, you just understand. Okay, cool. I already have this parts. You know, when they send you stuff, they send you stuff that you don't need.
Yep.
So you know you have parts from other things. So it's just like I don't think it is ego, right? It is ego, but it's like something that's in men where it's just like, yo, I actually want to discover something about myself, right? And the other thing about men is like, I have myself read directions and still got it wrong.
Yeah, same.
You know?
Yeah.
I've read the direction and still ended up getting it wrong.
But,
So it's just,
but do you think you read the directions and got it wrong because you read something too fast, or like you were speeding through it? Do you think that you actually read it properly and then got it wrong?
well, maybe. But I'll give you another example. The first time I snowboarded, I was following directions. Someone was teaching me.
Yep.
All right. Someone was teaching me based on their technicality.
Yep.
They didn't understand my athleticism.
Yep.
My core strength.
Yep.
But they were just teaching me how they knew how to
Yep.
teach me. So when I was trying to learn, I didn't know how to. I wasn't getting it.
Yep.
I just wasn't getting it. But the next time I went snowboarding, I was just let me try and fall.
Yep.
You understand? So I just was trying and falling, and I was trying and falling, and then I learned how to do it myself because of trial and error.
Yeah.
Men are not afraid to fail. All right. So women don't want to have to start over. Women don't want to have to do it and then realize they did it wrong because the emotional weight is gonna like consume them. Like, oh man, like I'm not gonna do that anymore. Men are like, you know what, I did it wrong, but I'm in the zone right now. Let me take it apart and put it right together. You know, and through that process, you just learn how to do things. You know, I mean, it could be a bad thing and it could be a good thing, but for me, man, I just like that's how I operate.
I feel like it's more of a bad thing than anything though, because
Which part?
just like
Not following directions.
yes,
Yeah.
because like not following directions or not being able to follow instructions means that you can't. How could you lead anybody? You know what I mean? You're not even a good follower. You can't even take simple instructions and execute them to the highest ability. You know what I mean? You listen to half the instructions and you run off with your own assumptions. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's like, well, that almost like hinders you in the developmental process of becoming a man. You know what I mean? And leading your household, because you can't even follow simple instructions. So when it's time for you to actually lead, like, how do you actually convey these messages to your people, your family?
I feel like I kind of agree and I disagree, right? I feel like there is a space in being a man and being a leader that you can pivot even if they say or somebody else says this is the way to do it, right? I feel like I'm always trying to find the best or the fastest way to get something done and completed. So like, even if, have you ever been in traffic and you were with your wife and you seen one lane was going faster, but at the end of the day, like, it just say like, yo, just keep staying this course and you'll get to where you're going. And she'd be like, babe, get over. Like, get over. Follow traffic. And you're just like, oh, my bad. I was like following the directions. I was cruising with you. I wasn't really pressed, right? That subtle, like, hey, yo, get over, make a decision, I feel like matters in our lives of, hey, yo, you don't need to sit here and follow these directions all the time. When you see this is the route that you need to take, you can see that, that this is the route that you absolutely need to take. And I feel like when, like, and I'm not saying to the point of like when we were kids and our fathers had to read maps in order to get to a destination and they was lost for an hour and they didn't want to say anything. Now, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if I've been here before, I don't need to pull out the map again. Like, I don't need to pull out the map again.
And what I'm saying is, it's just like, we're quick to say, I've been here before.
Yeah.
But you haven't. You know what I mean? Because no situation is the same. They're all different. So yes, you've seen like what a skeleton looks like. You know what I mean? But the inner workings are just a little bit different. You know what I mean? And then you're just assuming that everything is the same. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like we make mistakes like that. We find ourselves in like compromising situations because we assume it was going to be the same.
And I feel like, to your point, and as we continue to get into this episode, I feel like that eagerness that we possess, that I'm speaking of, is the eagerness that we have, even as just young boys, to be able to prove ourselves. Like, young boys to get to the point to just be like, nah, I could do that, or I could take care of that for you, right? So,
also though, to your point, because that was a great point you made about figuring out your own lane, how to do it, okay? Because if you just follow the directions every single time, you'll never be able to identify what shortcuts you can actually take.
That's true.
So if someone says, hey, listen, I'm going to bake this cake and it's going to be the best cake ever. Here are the ingredients, all right? They're gonna give it to you. You like, you know what? I don't want it the way you made it. Because how it tastes to you may be slightly different to me. So I'm gonna take your ingredients and I'm gonna take the skeleton you talked about, and I know it said just do this XYZ, but like I'm gonna throw a little like
But you can only do that.
pineapples, whatever in there.
You could only do that though if you actually read it. Right, you can't.
Right.
You can't make that decision without looking at it. You have had to go through.
No. Because if you have you have a foundation of
Yeah.
principles that you already are familiar with, then you don't need to read it. All right. Because if you already know how to bake to some degree,
Yeah.
you don't need to read it. You know
Like
what
if
I'm saying?
this is a blueberry pancake recipe, but you be like,
It's
now I
funny.
want to freak it a little bit.
yeah.
It's funny because
You don't gotta follow that
It's funny
recipe.
though. It's funny because I'm only saying this because you guys use baking. That's not true. Baking is so precise. It comes down to the exact measure. Baking is not cooking. Cooking is, let me eyeball this. Let me do my thing. Baking, no, if you don't add 3 teaspoons of baking soda, your shit not rising.
Correct.
You can't just be like, I'm gonna do. I don't like the baking soda.
Right. But correct. But like he's saying that, if we're making blueberry muffins, right? But maybe I want blueberry raspberry muffins.
I got you. I got you.
Right.
I got you.
So
I got
he
you.
didn't say anything about raspberry.
I got you.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna actually extract the blueberry and put raspberry
got
and see
you.
if it still works.
Yep.
And if it falls flat, I know
It
didn't work.
Yep.
Right. And what I'm saying about men is like men understand the ramifications of making bad decisions. Because men are confident in when they make the bad decision, they know that they could come back and try again. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that is a vital difference between us. Like Chanel hates messing up anything.
Yeah.
She hates
Yeah, yeah.
messing up. She hates messing up because she thinks it's the end of the world by messing things up.
Yep.
I'm like, it's all good. We just do it again.
Yeah.
We'll just do it again. You know? Like, you know how many things I've hung on the wall? There's so many different ways to hang something.
Yep.
But if I follow the directions, they're going to tell me you can only hang this
One
way.
way. Yeah, that's a fact.
And you only learn that from trial and error. And we have to take into account all the other things you've done that give you knowledge or a foundation of knowledge to help you make this decision. Now, if you have no wherewithal at all,
Yeah.
okay. All right, cool.
Front to
But-
back, read them directions.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're a new driver, then do exactly what the
10 and
streets
2.
say. You know,
Put your blinkers on.
If
Yeah.
you've driven on the streets, if you've driven on the highway, if you've driven in the suburbs, then like, all right, you ain't never been down this way, but you got familiar to drive.
Yep.
And I'm saying that's how I like to approach things.
That's fair.
Yeah, so that's good, right? That also, I feel like, because you are excited to learn, you want to learn, but you also want to be like, well, I kind of want to do it like how I do it, right? I feel like this is not something that happens all of a sudden. We turn 25 years old and it's like, yo, I want to do this. This is something that's in you. You could be 12, you could be 13, you could be 10, you could be a kid. And these could be small things inside of you. Like, for example, it could be a Valentine. And you see a girl and you be like, man, I want to buy her. What do you buy for Valentine's Day?
Candy.
I want to buy her the most expensive box of candy because I want her to really know that I like her. Right? You are 10 years old and you're buying a $27 box of C's candy. Right? In that moment, it doesn't feel like it's crazy because in the space of, we'll just use inflation when you become an adult, that $27 turns into $2,700, right? I guess what I want to ask you guys, right, is at what age do you begin feeling like it's okay to provide for a woman? I understand we're talking about candy here, right, as children, but that candy eventually turns into a pair of sneakers. That pair of sneakers turns into a purse. And then this is now an expectation that is built up on you before you even become 18 years old. And now you've put yourself into these financial obligations before you even taking care of yourself. So what age is age appropriate to even begin looking at provision, to even be looking at, yo, I can hand out these type of gifts. I can give these.
Provision or gifts?
Okay. Because I was going there
I'm glad you said that,
I was
right?
gonna go there too.
Gifts to me, right? And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. We brothers. Gifts to me gives an inclination of what kind of provider you can possibly be. So
Sure.
if you are hanging out with a girl very early on and you are buying expensive gifts, you're telling that person you can provide. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
Okay, so tell me, what does a gift represent and what does provision represent?
I think a gift represents a nice gesture. That's what I think. I think a gift is something that you can pick and choose when you want to do it. I think provision is an all the time thing.
I was going to say a gift to me is a moment in time.
So
You
a
know what I
gift,
mean?
a
Whereas
gift,
provision
a gift is
is
absolutely a moment
over
in time.
But also, hold on. I think a gift is rooted in, I just want to do something nice for you. Provision is rooted in, like, I care about you and I feel like you're one of my responsibilities.
Yeah.
That's provision.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this is what we're going to be talking about then. We're going to take the word provision out because I actually think we're talking about a younger age group here, right? We're going to take off who we are as men, and we're going to talk to our high school selves.
Okay.
Right? What kind of gifts do you think are appropriate to start giving as you're growing up?
In high school.
Yeah, in high school.
The things
Flowers.
things that are cool. A pair of sneakers, flowers. I'm aging myself now, but damn, I was gonna say like a CD, like music. You know what I mean? That's a little different now. So, new age.
What about a pair of? Oh, you went to the Chris Brown concert this year. What
Yep.
about a pair of really nice seats at the Chris Brown concert?
So obviously, my parents bought them for us, right? Because how could a kid afford that?
I'm saying he gifted it to her,
I mean, I just find it hard.
and they're not going together. This is a gift. They're not going together. So, is that appropriate? You got a daughter. If your daughter received Chris Brown concert tickets from a young man, how would you feel about it?
I guess that's all relative, right? Because if that kid comes from a family because if he got a family that's well off, you know what I mean? It makes sense.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It makes sense. You know what I mean?
He's like, Dad, I really want to get her this. I really want to do this. Mom and Dad, can you?
Can they, you know what I mean? So that then, you know, I guess that's all situational. So in that circumstance, then yes. But like if I'm going back to the kid I was in high school, working at Build-A-Bear, getting $250 every 2 weeks, like there's no way I could afford that.
That's big money.
That's big money. So for
big
me,
money.
buying
That's big
a pair of sneakers, like that was like, that's half my bread. But listen,
He's getting $500 a month.
yeah, from Build-A-Bear. You know what I mean? Clocking in, stuffing bears. You know what I mean? So to me, when I go back to those times, like that don't even make sense. How could I afford something like that? So I feel like if a kid is able to do that, it's probably because his parents are in a different situation, and it probably deems as appropriate for him. You know what I mean? But I feel like with those type of price tags on gifts come like expectations. You know what I mean? And so for a kid to come court my daughter and give her that, if that wasn't the type of family he came from, I will question it. I wouldn't allow my daughter to go, and I would explain to her why. Because these type of gifts, have higher price points. You know what I mean? And men feel like if they buy things from you, you should give them something in return. You know what I mean? And even if it's not directly in the moment, men are looking for a return.
You know, here's the interesting thing about it. Like, I don't think a lot of young women understand how they're actually going to react in moments where they feel pressured to do things. Like most women think like, nah, I ain't gonna do nothing. Like it's all good. Like I know me, I can control me, right? But sometimes, bro, when you be with a person and he does something for you and you feel the pressure of him actually, hey, yo, he did this for you. And
you feel obligated to do
you will feel obligated to do something in exchange. And it's not as easy as just like, nah, I'm just not doing that. I'm gonna still receive these gifts, but nah, I'm not doing it. It's not that easy.
And that's why if that were to happen to my daughter, I would want to protect her in that moment. Because he just hit it dead on the head. You know what I mean? She's gonna be vulnerable in that situation. She's not gonna know exactly what to do. So 9 times out of 10, she's gonna cave and do something that she shouldn't be doing.
So the reason why we're talking about this, right? There's been a lot of talk about 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old boys and girls expecting certain gifts. We call it adult-like gifts because, you got to think about it. Like 14, that's prime age of I'm indulging in adult content in a space of like just social media, what's happening with my favorite entertainers. And, you know, I see that my favorite entertainer, her and her boyfriend, they just went on a trip. You know, he just bought her a bag. He paid for this. He bought her this. And you begin to look at it and you're just like, yo, I want my partner to get me that, right? Because you're 14, 15, 16, you know, and you're diving into pop culture, right? And you're looking at that and that becomes the norm because ultimately, like, we can raise our children in our house, but pop culture matters. Mm-hmm. That is a thing that people see, right? Like, was my dad listening to Lil Wayne? No, but I was.
Yep.
Right? So, like, when we see those things, right, and we see these conversations are happening, and I've even seen on Twitter in these threads, there's been relationships of kids breaking up with other kids because it's like, he didn't buy me such and such, right? There's an expectation there. There's an expectation of these are the gifts that I should be getting because of what exactly? I don't know. I can honestly say, I don't know. I don't know where that exactly comes from, right? But I ask if you would allow your daughter to receive those because I'm raising a young man and I wouldn't feel comfortable with my son giving out gifts like that. To your point though, based off of where the family is at financially, relationship wise, because we're at an age where we could be Chris Brown's friend and just be like, oh yeah, go ahead.
You know what I mean?
Give her the tickets to the concert, you know? So I think it's a very nuanced conversation. So I'm gonna say that for the audience first. It's a very, very nuanced conversation. And I think in it being a nuanced conversation, I think the best thing that we can do is create the ground level in grounding who a person is, right? So like, if my son wanted to give somebody a gift like that, I know he really likes her, and I now need to meet her parents. I need to meet her parents because I need to see, yo, have you heard about my son in your house? Because if you haven't heard about him, but yet you want to give her a gift like this, I need to understand where your thinking is at. Now, if the parents have heard about my son, oh, it's this boy that I like, you know, his name is, and we talk, and this is happening. And I'm just like, okay, I'm late to the party here. Okay, well, let's figure out something that let's figure out a way that we can express your affection for her, right? I'm not going to take it off of the table for him. I'm not going to be like, you don't need to give nobody any gifts or anything like that. Dude, I know you don't have any children, but when we talk about gifting underage, how you feel about gifting underage?
Man, like you said, it's a nuanced conversation. So I'm listening to talking about the Chris Brown thing, and it didn't really trigger me like that. Well, I didn't really think like, oh, that's something just bad. So I just think that maybe the intention matters. You know, maybe the thing matters. There's a difference between, and like for instance, there's a difference between how much does Chris Brown concert tickets cost? $250. Okay, so there's a difference between $250 Chris Brown tickets and some Gucci shoes. They represent something different.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? Like one is an experience and one is something that's a material.
Yep.
So they mean different things. It's like, okay, cool. Like experiences are important for people.
Yep.
Those things last. Those things are important. But like materials is like you're getting into a space now as a kid where you feel like you have to buy affection. You have to pay for someone to like you as a kid. It's a bad habit to have as a kid.
Slippery slope there.
So we're not talking about this is my girlfriend and it's Valentine's Day and I want to do some nice for her. This is like, hey yo, I'm trying to get this woman to like me, so I'm doing this. That's a bad recipe. That's a man that's gonna grow up thinking that the only way he can have time in a woman's face is by using his wallet, and people will abuse him for that.
What was our phrase from?
It was don't lead with your wallet.
If you lead in with your wallet,
you
tricking.
You tricking.
What about nails,
No.
lashes, hair?
In high school?
In high school?
Yeah,
Forget about it.
No.
So a young man couldn't pay for that for your daughter.
No way.
Okay.
No way. Those are things that daddy is taking care of. You know what I mean? I'm handling those services. So no, we don't need you. I don't need you to. Because again, those things, we know what those, as adults, grown men, we know what type of feelings those evoke in women, right? Those make women, those type of things, gestures make women feel really good, right? Which is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with trying to court my daughter to make her feel good. But I just need to make sure that she's stable enough to handle these type of actions that you're presenting in front of her. So she knows the appropriate actions to do next. You know what I mean? And how to handle that in that situation. Because it could be, you could be blinded. You could be blinded by glitz and glamour. You know what I mean? And miss what's truly important, which is building the relationship with someone and getting to know someone and understanding who they are. But if you just fall in love with, you know what I mean, what this person could do for you, well, it ruins the entire experience of creating a relationship anyway.
I was thinking about, I will be so upset if I found out that my son was paying for somebody's services. I will be upset. Where did you learn that from?
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, well, you do it for mom. Okay, let's have a conversation. Because now you want to, let's have a conversation. Because now you want to be a little bit more experienced. And like, those things are just off of the table, bruh, because paying for somebody's services, you can't get out of paying for somebody's services. Services are cyclical. They keep going.
Recurring.
So now that is you are the guy that does that.
For sure.
And like,
and doing things, services that are recurring, that's the element of now I'm taking care of you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you are too young to be worried about taking care of anybody.
That's a fact.
You should not be worried about taking care of anybody when you can't even take care of yourself right now. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
so
you don't even know like where your life is gonna go.
Well, you still missing what day the trash man comes
know,
throughout
so
the
like-
week,
so
bro.
like-
Stop it.
So yeah, I think it's a bad habit, man. And it's like you hear these things, and you're not teaching him. Like you're teaching them. The principle is this: hey, yo, treat women right. Be respectful to women. Don't hit women. Don't take advantage of women. If a woman says no, no. Right? You're teaching them these fundamental, basic ass principles of how to treat a woman, not how to take care of a woman yet.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna learn how to take care of a woman through trial and error, through experience as you get older when you're ready.
Yeah.
But right now, that should not be the priority.
For sure.
Like, cause the chances are, and this is a high statistic, this woman right now will not be in your life in 5 years.
It's a fact. It's
5?
Right.
I'm being generous.
I find it disappointing though, because, you know, social media has a big influence in why we're even having this conversation. And I think back to the times of our adolescent years of us being in high school and courting women, like we didn't have to deal with these type of things. You know what I mean? And it makes me wonder, like, how would you, because we say what we would do, but we're speaking from the place of that it wasn't the same issue for us. We weren't up against the same fight. You know what I mean? So like I'm trying to say like what I would do today, and it's a little bit different because we don't have to deal with the pressure from social media every day. It's easy for us to say like, no, don't do that. But like, this is what our whole social crowd is talking about at the lunch tables every morning. You know what I mean? Like this is the norm.
Yep.
Like how do you navigate through that when this is the way of life now? Like it's very easy for us to say that, but we don't even live in those days anymore.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what was going on at different high schools.
No.
In our area.
No.
And I was just about to, I was going to ask you guys that. Like, how do you navigate that? So, all right, speaking to this, Uber, right? We didn't have Uber.
Nope.
We didn't have bird scooters.
Nope.
We didn't have cell phones in this capacity. We didn't have social media.
Yep.
We had MySpace, but we didn't have, how many friends did you have on MySpace that were outside of your school?
Right.
Maybe 3.
And some cousins?
Maybe. And some cousins.
You know?
Yeah.
So the access that these kids have is totally different. So as the question that you were asking is, yeah, we could say these things based off of how we grew up, but if all of your friends are, as a little girl, are receiving gifts from everybody, from other guys and people that they talk to, and people are paying for things, like, where does that leave her? Like, you got to tell her, no, you can't receive all of these things, you know, like, and I'm sure you can, but where does that leave her? Who is she? What does she show up as? And same question, I'm thinking about the same question for me.
Who is she? She's a strong, intelligent young black woman. You know what I mean? I tell her that every day. And some things you can't accept every gift. You know what I mean? I guess that's the lesson that you would end up having to teach in that moment. Is just like, yo, we can't just accept anything from anybody. And going back to what I was saying earlier, is just like, yo, a lot of times gifts come with expectations. You know what I mean? And we just want to be able to manage those properly. So, but that, I mean, I find that being tough.
That's a real conversation.
That's a real conversation but honestly too, like for those girls in particular, like, and this is another conversation to have, but like that's where parents, the father is going to be so instrumental in that situation, because, you know, he should be able to provide whatever some little boy is trying to do for his daughter.
Yeah.
To keep her happy and to keep her from not wanting these other things.
So at what age, dog? Let's talk about provision. All right, I saw something recently online, and it was this guy. He was talking to young guys, and he was saying that he was encouraging young guys, young men, to not be so fast to provide, or not want to be so quick to provide. Okay, and I thought it was a really interesting take because it made so much sense. And he was talking about how young men, have this feeling that they need to hurry up and be able to take care of people before they even have their own footing. All right. And I agree, because so many men are going to crash out trying to provide for someone, or try to show someone that they have the funds, or they have the means, or they could provide resources, or whatever the case maybe is, when they don't even have a foundation of stability yet. All right. And so I want to know, what do you guys think? Like, is there an age, or is it a feeling, or is it a position that you need to be in before you even think about providing?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. I think there's a position, and something that I've always been taught, and a thing that a way of life that I've lived for myself is like, if I can't afford to buy it twice, then I shouldn't be spending it. So if I can't afford to provide for you twice in the same month, like if I had to do this twice, like back to back, and I'm not able to do that, then I shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So that's one. The other thing is, I don't believe that boys or men dating girls or dating girlfriends should be providing for their girlfriend. You know what I mean? And I'll be very candid.
Providing for their girlfriend.
For their girlfriend. I'll be very candid. Like, I didn't start providing for my wife until she became my fiance. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I take care of the majority of things, right? But like, in terms of like full on providing, like what I'm doing right now, that's a special privilege. You know what I mean? You can't just give that away to any woman. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be wise of you as a man. It would be really irresponsible of you as a man, because that will show that you're not even someone that could take control of your own finances, because you're going to end up walking around with your pockets inside out and sad, trying to provide for someone that you're unable to do. You're not in a position to do. So, and then also you want to make sure, to me personally, that this is the right person that I'm doing it for. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that like, I'm doing it with the good intentions. She's receiving it with the right intentions. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we're moving forward as so. Yeah. So I would say those two things in general. Like, if I can't afford to do it twice, I shouldn't be doing it. And first and foremost, and then the most important thing to me is like, this person needs to be Miss Right for me to be actually providing. Now, buying gifts is still all good. I could buy gifts for people that I'm dating.
I could take you on vacation.
I could take on vacation all day. But coming home and paying your rent after I just pay for vacation, I can't do that. I won't do that. And I don't think men should do that. And and it's not men that's making men feel inferior for doing this. This is other women who are doing
inferior.
It.
You better watch out for that.
Oh, I forgot about that word. That's a touchy word on this show. On this show. But it's really the women who are making other men feel bad for not doing it, which is just sad, because women don't even understand like how hard men be working for their dollar. And if they did, they wouldn't even ask for the things that they ask for in the times that they do. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you really understood how hard this man slaved for this income right here, you would be more strategic and kinder with the way that you ask for things.
Or their expectation.
You would lower your expectations.
You would have much more grace for him not being able to provide you the things that you see.
No, because
online.
you see the sweat equity. You see it, you know what I mean? But most women, they don't know. They just expect because you got a nice pad and you drive a nice car and you smell good and you wear nice clothes that you could provide the same thing for them. And I think that's just so wrong.
Yeah, I think men a lot of times, because we don't complain and we don't speak out typically, right? I can't speak for every man,
Like
but
in real life.
in real life,
life.
right? We can say we make it look easy. So a lot of times it's like, man, a woman may feel like you're not going through what I go through in order to achieve what I am. But it's like, sometimes you got to be completely honest. Like, hey, yo, sometimes I'm drowning up to my eyeballs, in order to make something happen, make something shake. But like, I still do it because like, I just know how to do it. So to your point, men shouldn't rush to that feeling, right? As far as when can you provide, I think it's a gradual process that you learn within yourself. I think it's like you saying, okay, I could buy that gift and it doesn't break me. All right, cool. That's a good start. I can take that vacation and it doesn't break me. Okay, that's cool. That's a good start, right? One thing when it comes to like the provision, right? When we're talking about provision, we're talking about for you to live day to day. I'm making sure that I'm giving you the ability to be able to live your life day to day, which means the roof over your head is taken care of. The way you get transported is taken care of. The food that you eat is taken care of. I mean, in some way, shape, or form, right? Just provisions, your necessities, right? So one of those things is if you don't have your own place and you can't afford your own place, you shouldn't even be thinking about that. Because ultimately, like, somebody's going to come into your space. I don't think you should decide
To go into somebody else's space.
to go into somebody else's space. You got to be able to kind of hold it down yourself. So I don't think a 16-year-old boy should be thinking about that. I don't think an 18-year-old boy should be thinking about that, right? Granted, there's exceptions to the rules where financially you may be that. I still don't think you have the mental capacity to be able to deal with those things, right? So like, there is so much, as we say, sweat equity that I feel like we've all put in to our relationships, to where even if you get to a space of even provision and you get frustrated every time you do it, you're not ready to provide. Right? Every time you have to, hey babe, we need this, and you get mad or you get frustrated or it ticks you off, you're not ready to provide. That is a space that I had to teach myself. Oh, I'm not ready to provide the way that I think I'm able to provide, because that frustrated me. That upset me. If you're not ready to be, I feel like also too, when we're talking about true provision as well, there's a space of transparency that you have to be able to expose in order to be that person. Duke, you talk about this a lot. You talk about the space of, hey, yo, if you can't do it, you got to say that. If you can't get to that space of, hey, yo, this isn't smart for us to do this right now, and it's not smart for us to do this right now because it's going to put us in a spot, and that's not a spot that I'm willing to be in, you're not ready.
But it's going to put me in a spot. It's going to put me in a spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because depending on what you're doing, like, you're going to be fine. It's going to put me in a spot. That's what I'm saying. So, like, people got to remember that provision, when you asking, and I'm talking, again, like, this all comes down to us talking about a young dude, all right, who was feeling the pressure to hurry up and be and emulate the behaviors that he's seeing on social media because he feels like he needs to do that to be accepted as a man. Okay? Like, you got to understand that it's extremely hard to be able to take care of yourself, fulfill yourself, pour into yourself, and do it for someone else. No matter who you are. It's extremely hard. Okay? Some people are so financially well off that they can do it effortlessly and it won't affect them. And those guys will say, yeah, my girl don't got to do nothing. All right? But that ain't you. As a matter of fact, bro, you're not even in a place where you can be like, yo, I'm going to take care of X, Y, Z. That ain't you. Because again, like, you are going to feel, like you said, like, hey, you're going to feel the type of way. There's going to be some type of resentment building. And if you're there where you're building resentment off of something that you agreed to or something that you felt pressure to and you conform to, then that's your fault. You know what I'm saying? And then that means you're not ready for it. So I would tell any young dude, it's like, yo, you have so much time to provide. You know what I'm saying? And then don't let social media convince you that there isn't a difference between girlfriend, fiance, wife.
Right.
There's a difference between, there's different stages. There's different responsibilities that you have, and there's different things that you both are going to agree on. All right. There's no way you could meet a woman, make her your girlfriend, and then automatically provide for her, right? Like she's your wife. When the position itself is temporary. So this woman may be with you today, and in 6 months be with somebody else, and you be with somebody else, and then you got to provide for them.
Or she may be with you today, and in a year, she's your fiance. The position, regardless, is temporary.
The position is temporary. All right. So then it's like, all right, cool. Well, now we can go there. And again, so the other thing is this too, because some women will hear this and say things like, well, like that means I don't have to cook for him when he's not my boy, when he's just my boyfriend. And if you don't want to cook for him, you don't have to cook for him. If that's your prerogative. If that's your prerogative, you don't, right? But then you do have to see things that are pretty low-hanging fruit in the other person that give me indicators that, okay, cool, this person cares for me.
Yep.
All right. Now, I don't know what those things are where it's just like, yo, I have to see this person. These things are things that only wives do. I don't know what those things are.
Putting your career on the back burners to support a family.
That's something that a wife does.
That's something that a wife would do.
Only.
Only.
So it's fair to say this, okay? And that's a great example. It's fair to say this. Yo, if you're a woman and you're dating a guy and he's your boyfriend, never like abandon your career for him.
No.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
So like,
I travel for work.
I would never tell a woman, hey yo, you should hey, I'm just your boyfriend. Hey, quit working because I'm gonna provide for you. I would never. That don't make sense. And you should never be stupid enough to listen to that.
Yeah. Perfect.
You should never be stupid enough to listen to never, right? Because the position is temporary. So then when now you become my fiance, now we can start talking about more permanent solutions. And even then it's just like, all right, engagement. We still figuring shit out. And then, okay, I'm your husband, you're my wife. So leading up to that point, let's start getting things in order of how we want to do marriage. But I think social media has conflated everything in just relationships, and everyone's supposed to do everything. And you got men listening to the blueprint that rappers have set for us.
Yep.
You know, and try to emulate those things and saying, yo, I'm gonna buy my girl a Birkin bag that I just met.
Yep.
All right. And obviously most women aren't expecting Birkin bags, but it's just like the idea of overspending to get accommodation from a woman that you're not even serious with. That's a problem. Right. And it's creating a culture of it's created a culture of women with high expectations. And the higher women set expectations, the more they'll be disappointed. Okay? And it's also creating a culture of men who feel like they have to overspend to get love and respect from women. And it's not real. None of it is real. And it doesn't do anything for anybody. And the whole, you have to know your worth, is all a facade.
Yeah. To add on to your point of the high expectations, I think it's creating high monetary expectations and low emotional and relational expectations for both parties, men and women.
Yep.
And I'm seeing it more and more to where love is kind of getting exited out, and it's what can he do for you? What can he do for me? And on the flip side is, how bad is she? There's nothing else that comes with neither one of these sides. And I feel like that is where the danger zone in these providing a gifts when you're 14 years old, the assumed provision that a woman is expecting when she's a young age from a man, as like, this is to meet a man and say, can he provide when you guys meet? I feel like that's something that kind of, you got to see that in the dating process. I don't think that is like you meet him the first day, and if he could provide or not, that is an indicator of, can I continue to talk to him or not? I don't think that should be an immediate indicator, because again, we don't know where people are at and what stage of their life that people are at, right? So like, we always talk about being able to understand the traits of a successful person, being able to understand the traits of a provider, being able to understand those things. But to be like, okay, you a man, you don't make $100,000 a year today. Okay, I'm good. I'm not even going to talk to you. Are you a woman and you not this dime that I'm looking for today? Okay, I'm not even going to talk to you. And I'm talking about dime. I'm not talking about just like, she's attractive to me. I'm talking about when they're like, nah, you gotta be this look.
What society considers a dime.
Exactly, right? I really feel like love and connection and commitment and longevity of relationship is getting ushered out due to these two things. Due to the expectation of monetary gifts and also due to the expectation of looks for men. I feel like love is just getting ushered out. People don't understand, like, you guys, if y'all gonna age together, those looks gonna change. If you guys want to build together, those finances gonna change. So like, I don't feel like a lot of the young generation is understanding that a lot of the pinnacle of the things that they see aren't real anyway. A lot of the relationships that they see and they admire and that they see these things happening, they're not the ones that you're gonna be looking at in a few years no. They're not, right? So when we look at love, when we look at value, the value system, and we sitting here talking about this as three young men, 3 men that are dedicated to our families, how do you feel like we can actually, outside of the podcast, shift the narrative of what is valued, what is important, what people should be looking for, what people can be gaining to be joining in a union outside of the monetary gain or just the looks?
Well, it's a lot easier said than done, but I think one easy obvious way is for us to stop living our lives through social media so much. Like every time you go on social, you're influenced or excited or depressed based off of something that you see. You know what I mean? And so I say it's a lot easier said than done because everyone lives on social media.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But, I don't know if you guys have taken any time away recently. I haven't recently, but in like the past 2 years I have. And just the clarity that I have and the ease I have on my mind of not being distracted by other people's lives or being able to just stay focused on my race. You know what I mean? I'm not distracted because I'm not thinking about what Jelon did today or what Duke did this morning. You know what I mean? I'm just focused on my race. So I think that is first, but it's probably one of the hardest things, even though it's one of the most obvious. The other thing is like getting back to like things that really matter, the important things, and trying to, I guess, teach the younger generation that like time spent with people is way more important than gifts and money. You know what I mean? Being able to understand who people are and experience different food and music. Like those are the things that really matter, that really make a lasting impression that people won't forget. You know what I mean? People forget gifts all the time. People never forget the way you made them feel. You know what I mean? So like I would say like those two things will be the top of my priority list, is like trying to remove myself from social media if I find myself being influenced, my emotions being influenced. And then paying attention to the things that matter, that are real, like real life moments and hanging out and spending time. And by spending time, you distract the person that you're with too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You keep them distracted as well. So like I would be more focused on that. And like even us as us we're talking about this conversation, I hear good conversation around it, but I'm still like, if I was a 16-year-old boy that I doubt is listening to this podcast right now, like what exactly do I say though? You know what I mean? Like how do I get out of this situation? And it will take just multiple conversations with the woman that you're courting, that you're trying to date, and you have to kind of strip her of the brainwashing and kind of help her relearn what's real for you and I. Because what you're seeing is a facade. What you're seeing, it has nothing to do with you and me. It's what the world is portraying and displaying. And half of that shit ain't real anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So those are two things that I would start with. And and if I was someone that was listening, like, I don't know. I mean, I know you just asked me a question, but like, what do we say to these young men? You know, what how do I tell a young man to navigate through that? Because again, I hear a good conversation, but I still don't have the answer. Like, I don't know what to do as a kid. I'm still feeling pressured. I still feel like I have to do it. Do I just do it? Do I succumb? What is it?
Damn. And that was good, actually. If you don't define yourself for yourself, you will fall victim to believing that you have to behave and act like the images and characters you see on TV.
Wow.
Okay? So we have to figure out what our identity is and detach from influence. So social media is birth for influence.
Yeah.
So you're spot on when you say that we should get rid of social media. 'Cause we should. I'm not
Not
get rid of, but we should know how to
Detach.
use social media and not let it use us.
Yes.
Okay. So that's very important. The other thing is this, man. We need to treat each other like human beings, and not like men and not like women. We got to treat each other like human beings, and that includes ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. When we start treating each other like human beings, we open ourselves to love now and care. But the minute I know you're a woman, or the minute you know I'm a man, there becomes a shield, and now you have to treat me differently. And now you feel like, okay, I could scar him now, right? But if you just see me as a human being first and foremost, you know I have the same emotions as you.
Yep.
All right. But when you look at me as just a man, you think that, okay, well, my emotions are more delicate than his. So that means I could be more vicious towards him, right? When I look at you as a woman, I feel like I can dominate you as a woman. So I feel like it's my rightful place to be above you. You know, if I just look at you as a human being, I look at you as equals. And that doesn't mean we have the same roles. That doesn't mean we do the same things. That just means that, yo, you are equally important and valuable to this world as I am. We just show up in different ways. So if you just, put us all in black bubbles and take our names, take our faces, and you just know we're a living organism, we would probably be treating each other different. I probably wouldn't attack you because I don't know if you're a man or a woman. I just know you're a human being.
Yeah.
And I just know if I attack you, you're going to get hurt. Right? So we need to have that approach because like this whole just idea or this narrative that we have today's world is just predicated on like, hey, yo, you're a man, I'm a woman. There's a divide now, right? And we're going to do whatever we can to win this war. It's a war. It feels like a war. You know what I'm saying? So any L that I could give you, now that includes like tricking on me. That includes all that, bro. I can't even put the words to it, but that's that's what I think. That's what I think. And there's something else I thought I just can't. I fucking lost my train of thought, but yeah. What was the question though? Because I did. What was the original question?
What was your question?
What was your question?
What can we do to essentially shift the narrative of that being the norm for the 14 to 18-year-old? Like, where's our influence at? Like, because we don't feel that way. We don't feel the value of a woman is based off of just how she looks. And we not around women who think the value of us is just what we could pay for.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, how do we continue to shift that?
Yeah.
I know we talk about it all the time. I know we live it. But how can we continue to shift that? I know Omar answered it pretty effectively, too.
Yeah. But I think just through actual real life interaction, try to reinforce those behaviors that we like and that we agree with. Okay. So not just wait for someone to say something we don't like and then pop out of nowhere and be like, yo, that was wrong.
Yep.
Right? Nah. Like see the behaviors that we do align with and say, okay, hey, do y'all see this? Do y'all see what's going on here? Did y'all hear that? Because now it gives people who are looking from the outside confidence in saying, yo, if I act like that, I'll get the same admiration and praise. But if we only praise people or we only give attention to people who are doing wrong or saying things that we don't like, I want attention.
Two things. I love what you just said. And it made me think about two things at the same time. The first thing it made me think about was social hours. When we had that event, there was no tables. It was nothing. Everybody was just there, had a good time. And people was like, yo, if I would have known it was going to be like this, I didn't know people would have been dancing. I would have known it was going to be cool people in the same room. I would have been able to do that. So I think that's one thing that we're doing that reinforces how we feel. right? How we want to maneuver. We never was going out and we was just like, hey, yo, hey, oh, put up 5 bands for the table tonight, man. You know, we got to get attention. You know, nah. We go out, we go to the bar, and we get the same attention.
Yep.
Right? That was just how we maneuvered, right? First thing. Second thing, Duke, that you said that I think is so interesting because I was just having a conversation about this is, and this is a mental health note for people. Whenever you see things that you don't like, and that is all that you're pouring into, you got to understand that you are feeding your negative cup. And you are not actually putting any positivity in the world, even though you think you are, because you got triggered by the negative thing. So to your point, Duke, it's actually very, very mentally healthy. It's emotionally healthy to be able to see the things that you do like and to speak life into the things that you do like, rather than to speak against the things that you don't like. Mm-hmm. Because we see people all the time that always speak on what they don't like. The only time they show up is when they don't like something. And would you say those people are happy people?
No.
Those people see the glass half empty.
You know that.
No, people are hurting inside.
Boiling inside.
People are hurting inside.
But yeah, that's that. So I look at that as that is a real, for the people who are like, man, you know, I just feel like I might not be happy. And only you can dictate like if you're happy or not. That's something that people have to look at within themselves and be like, you know what? I need to only stop speaking to the negative things, and I need to pour life into the things that I do like. I actually think that people, when they see negative things, especially on social media, you don't have to say anything.
You don't have to say anything.
You don't have to say anything. I don't understand it. You don't have to say anything. If you can't help but say something, there's something wrong with you.
Wow.
If you can't help it. I'm talking about things that aren't even good or bad. They're just things that you don't agree with. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to try to insert your opinion.
You know what's even crazier about that is saying something. It's like almost like I would kind of give you the pass because it's like if you said something, it's in the moment. It probably struck an emotion and it just rolled off your tongue. But you actually had to write this.
And
so you had to
type again.
You had to formulate the thought. It came off your fingers. You read it, and then you press send.
You had to go in the
That's
corner.
crazy.
You had to go in the corner.
That's
and
crazy.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Come on.
Hey, look, I know we got to get out of here. But I kind of want to go back to the conversation. I want to ask you guys. Y'all being former NFL guys, right? Being former NFL guys, and I know we took ourselves to that 14 to 18 age, but now you're former NFL guy, right? Let's be in the NFL. You're in the NFL. So you guys are not married. You guys are in the NFL, right? Question: do women ask for money from men as often as men say or feel?
No, I don't. Speaking from like my proximity, no, I don't think so. I don't think think women actually verbalize themselves to say, "Yo, I need some money. Can I get some money?" I don't think it happens as much as people think. As much as men say that, I don't think it happens like that, right? I think a woman can feel, she can make you feel like, yo, you know, I want some of that, or I like nice things, or I want you to spend on me. You can feel it, but I don't think women actually come out. I'm talking about as much as men say they do, and be like, yo, like, give me some money. I don't think so. I think women also understand, like enough women understand that, hey, yo, like I'm actually a little bit more player with it. I'm not that, you know what I'm saying? I'm smooth with it. I'm not that like blunt with it, because when you ask somebody for money, it's like, it's just off-putting. Yeah. It doesn't even matter if he's rich or not. It's off-putting, right? Unless he's like just a bona fide trick where he's leading with his wallet, he's leading with his money. Then as a woman, you're going to be like, oh, this is what he do. Can I have some money? But if you're dealing with a woman, a man, and you know he got money, I don't really think you just like flat out saying, hey, can I get some money? Nah. I don't think it happens like that.
Like a man, you don't just walk up to a woman like, yo, let me get some head. That ain't how it work. That ain't how it go. You spoke to proximity. I'm gonna speak to experience. No. In my time, in my experience, in my time of playing in the NFL, I think I could count on 2 fingers how many times I've been asked for money. Now,
from a woman you was dealing with.
From a woman I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And maybe 2, it might even be a stretch. It may be just 1, like low key. I'm really trying to think of the situation right now, like as I'm replaying shit in my head. it may be one, maybe two. You know
Like,
what I
I
mean?
need cash in my hand.
No,
Okay,
no,
okay.
that's not happening.
It's not even like,
Okay,
hey, yo,
let me
go,
ask
let's
you
go
guys
here for
this.
vacation.
Yeah, nah.
Okay, obviously they're not gonna ask straight out.
Okay.
Is sending destinations, clothes, shoes, bags, is that the same as asking?
Is sending the same as
Like
asking?
saying like, oh man, I really love this. Oh, I really love this.
It's not.
Okay.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think it's the same because I really love this can be, hey, my birthday's coming up. Or Valentine's Day is coming up. You know what I'm saying? I would like this. That's different. Vacation places is different because I'm going.
yeah.
I'm going. That's for me too. That's the thing about vacations too. Like, I don't mind vacations because that's my experience too.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
we never mind it when you're experiencing it too.
Like
no,
vacations,
it's all good.
Vacations is my
This
experience.
makes sense.
Like
This
I'm
makes sense.
enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. The vacations is cool.
Give you cash to go buy a bag though. I'm not experiencing that.
Yeah, no.
There's no joy in that. That's not fun to me.
So that's out. You're not doing that.
No,
Or you weren't doing that.
I wasn't doing that. I've never bought a woman a bag that I was just courting.
No.
I've never bought a pair of red bottoms for a woman I was just courting. No. No, bro.
No,
Nah.
bro.
Nah. Now,
A woman ever went out with her homegirls and you sent her some money?
never. Never. That's not the type. But I want to say this. I would say that speaks to the pedigree of being a Southern Californian, right? Because if I'm from Atlanta,
Don't like
Uh-oh.
that.
I'm just saying I may have a different outlook. I'm just saying, depending on where you're at regionally,
No.
has determines on like how you move and how you interact with women. You know what I mean? Because we've had friends that are from the other side of the United States that you'd be like, you hear like, damn, well, this woman, she asked him for such and such, and he gave it to her. You know what I mean? So like, I've seen it. You know what I mean? But if I'm speaking from my experience, no, because that's not the kind of aura I walk around with. You know what I mean? I don't even think I look like a come up. I'm
Yeah, for sure. Hey, yo.
Hey,
nah,
you-
I respect
hey,
that.
Debbie said, oh,
No.
that's a lick right
Yeah,
there.
No, that's important though because look, it also has a lot to do with the women that you're entertaining.
Yep.
If you're constantly entertaining those types of women, you're probably going to be asked for money a lot.
This is a fact.
That's just a fact, all right? But you can control what type of women you entertain.
Yes.
All right. Now, you don't know this when you first meet someone, but after the way you speak to them, after if you try to initiate dates and they give you the runaround, but if you like, oh, we're going to the club, they're like, oh, y'all got a section, things like that. All right, cool. You know what time it is.
I'm gonna keep it a bug
All right?
with you.
You know what time it is.
Because of social media, you know somebody way better than you know. People gotta be completely honest. The same exact way, if a man is leading with his wallet, if a woman is leading with her body too, like
Yeah.
as a young man, you see her leading with her body, you gotta be weary of that.
You got to be wary of that.
You
For
have
sure.
to.
And you
Yeah.
can't. You actually can't ignore that.
Yeah,
No,
I got
You can't ignore that.
You gotta pay attention
You
to
gotta
that.
pay attention to
For
that.
sure. Yeah, keep it.
You know, you got to pay attention to that. So like, I don't need to hang out with you to know what you about. Like that is one benefit that these kids do have that we didn't have.
They got the
It's
whole.
not
They
a
got the
ben-
whole Carfax.
it's not a
They got the
benefit.
whole report, bro.
It's a benefit if you use it right, but it's not a benefit because they can't control their impulses. They can't control their sexual desire. It's not. It is a benefit, but they won't ever capitalize on that.
I mean, some may. It depends on the pedigree. And this is another thing. Like I was just having a conversation with my fiance about the importance of my brothers being in my life. Speaking about you guys, the importance of them being in my life is to be able to get a different perspective, give a different perspective to my son. That's not just coming from his dad. So like if he's like, yo, I like this girl, and Duke sees her and he'd be like, oh, she ain't about nothing. It's different when it comes from dad, and it's different when it comes from somebody else that loves you and cares about you. She ain't about nothing. Like, and it's like, why you say that, Uncle Duke? Like I look up to you and I admire you and you're cool to me. So why did you say that? Oh, she's not about, look what she wearing, man. Look what she got going on here. Like, no, she's not about nothing. When we say it may not be a benefit, those things start to become embedded in him as time goes on. So by the time he's 21, 22 years old, we don't have to have We don't have to have like, come on, bruh. Like you can't be bringing these type of girls home.
Nah,
no.
He's mimicking you. She ain't about nothing.
She not
She ain't
about nothing.
Pops.
Yeah.
She ain't
Like,
about
come
nothing,
on,
Pops.
bruh.
Nah.
Yeah.
Like nah. And if that's a space you want to play with, you know where you keeping it at. That's between you and her. That you'll never even bring her to me.
Yep.
Like nah, you know what you're doing with that. I've taught you well enough to know what you're doing with that. So I do think they could get a benefit from it. I think there's pros and cons to there has to be pros and cons to everything.
Damn, that's a good question.
You want to expand on it, or do you?
Nah, man. I think that to cap the question off, I don't think women actually really ask for money as much as men say they do.
Me either.
All right. I don't think it's actually happening. I also don't think women are asking for money from men as much as they say they do. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's like that. Some women will say, "Yeah, I just ask for money all the time. I get it." Nah, it's probably not happening like that. You understand that? Hey, we are playing the game, and when you're dealing with someone who you don't want to lose, you're not just gonna be as direct like that. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen like that. Nah, it doesn't happen. You got to play the game, and you're not trying to show all your cards so early. You know what I'm saying? But fellas,
I'm good.
anything?
That was cool.
Listen, y'all.
Cool.
Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Okay, if you are watching this right now, if you're still here, all right, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go ahead and take a photo of the TV. I want you to screenshot the phone. If you're listening to this, screenshot the phone. And I want you to go onto social media. I want you to upload onto your story or your feed or whatever the case. And I want you to tag Nice and Neat the podcast. And I want you to talk about what part of the show you like the best. All right. Share it with your audience because we're growing. I think we're at 100K. We're somewhere around 100K on YouTube. And it would be an honor for you to help us get there. Okay. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalan. This is another episode of Nice and Neat, and that's that on that.
I'll be the
Peace.
one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting old now, got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance I stand. I'm going to pull four in the fucking white sand.